Hello, welcome. This is Lotus. So we are the day after the full moon. We are still in the waves of that energy, but we have shifted from Aries into Taurus. One of the things that I really love about following cycles and seasons and following systems that align with the natural order of the cosmos, like astrology, is that when we come into relationship with these cycles and rhythms, we get to find out how intimately we're connected to it without even knowing sometimes. I'm not an astrologer, obviously, and I don't follow it and live by it per se, although I am a fan and I definitely resonate with it most of the time. But I love when I don't really know what's happening and specific movements of the rhythms actually line up appropriately for me at any given time. My system, my awareness, my consciousness is aligning in that more collective, grander cosmic order. So that happened after the Aries energy, and I started feeling just, this morning and even last night, I felt really grounded, much clearer, much more in my body, not quite as many thoughts and inspirations or revelations coming through that were clearing out. So, and then I saw this morning, I was listening to Dr. Michael Lennox, and yep, we had entered into Taurus, and I was like, oh, okay, perfect. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the shift. So I'm hearing and I'm noticing for myself that as we've moved through this last moon cycle and we're still moving through it, things are very different. I can tell just from last week at this time to now, I'm in a very different space and much has shifted internally. And now I'm able to sort of reorganize and define and refine my own alignment and what is speaking to me, and I'm able to let go of what now is in the past and what now is relevant in this present moment. All of the information and is calling us forward into a more, heightened, speedy time, right? And I've mentioned this before, and you're probably hearing this as well, that we're moving into air and fire as we move into the age of Aquarius. So things are going to speed up even more than they've already been. And we've been in very grounded energy. So all of that is about to shift. And if you're paying attention inside, you may already start to notice the rumblings of what needs to be dismantled and needs to be left behind in order for you to move into whatever your next level of evolution, whatever developmental stages are tapping on your shoulder. So I wanted to put this in the context today of, quick fix or true essence. We all get to choose the trajectory and our journey. We get to fix, or we get to choose whether we're going to just sort of keep hovering over the same space, the same life, the same reality, the same consciousness, the same belief systems, the same wounding, the same storylines, and stay relatively where we are in one developmental stage of our human expression, the fullest potential of our human expression, or whether we're going to say yes and birth and really begin to embody our higher expressions of a divine human. So we all have free will. And our free will is also starting to get a little squeezed. You may notice if you're clinging on to what you want to remain the same, and life might be interjecting or trying to nudge you in a different direction, and you're just kind of doing band-aid quick fixes. You're not really addressing the deeper causes and conditions and fears or doubts, or, wanting to remain in a more stable place internally or environmentally or, relationally, which is totally understandable. But that isn't actually why we're here, right? If you're on your spiritual journey, which you are because you're here listening to me, if you're on your spiritual trajectory, we aren't here to uphold or maintain any status quo of the past. We're here to activate our soul's signature, our true essence. And what this means is it requires us to peel away the density of the old human, right? The past paradigm of humanity. The paradigm of humanity that is here, that has been here primarily, right, to just sort of do and stay within the boxes and the systems and the expected living to maintain and sustain all of these other structures that support the collective consciousness of the base level. So when I say base level consciousness, that's the first, second, and third chakra that has yet to be evolved and transmuted into a higher divine expression of these energy centers. And that requires paradigm shifts emotionally, mentally, in our physical world and spiritually, and in our physical body. Frequency is going to be the name of the game. As we come into the age of Aquarius in November, we start tipping into that. And I think that it's by March we're going to be fully within the air and fire. And our ability to really open and expand is going to be somewhat dizzying if we haven't learned how to ground and root ourselves in the up-leveled, evolved paradigm consciousness frequencies of grounding, rooting, relational intelligence, sense of personal self in the Christed I am presence, not the egoic structure I am presence. And as those lower centers then begin to transmute the density, we come into more love, we come into quicker co-creation, we come into expansion of consciousness, we come into telepathy, we come into accessing more of our divine faculties. but we have to have a new foundation in order to support that. So we're kind of coming to where the rubber meets the road. And I'm feeling much more energized and much more, what is the word? Organized, right? All of the information that's been dropping in since Lionsgate is now feeling much more like it's found its home within, right? And as it finds its home, it's integrating, and now the information is downloading into more of an embodied wisdom. And then that begins to inform myself or anyone who's also working at this level how we're going to move forward next. How those of us who are teaching and guiding others are going to start formulating how to do that work at a higher level. And for me, of course, my prism, my lens, my soul signature, part of my soul expression and soul signature has everything to do with embodiment. So I made some notes, and I just want to kind of follow with this and make it concise. So the first thing I want to invite you is to just take a minute, right? And as you're recognizing, part of my role is to guide you inside, so you hear your own truth, so you can begin to listen and enter into an inner standing of your own true essence voice that is like it's coming up from the depths, right? It's coiled in the center of all sorts of layers of illusion and distortion. But as we move through this process, we get more and more access. But we have to be operating consciously. We have to be making the choices. And this is who I'm speaking to. Those of you who are ready to be making these next level choices and to be, honing, refining, redefining, facing those inner blocks, those fears, that and step into courage to know that you are not only who you think you are. So much more, so much more. But only you can say yes to these next level potentials of who you truly are. And that is going to happen through frequency. It's going, which is consciousness, which is vibration, right? Only you can do that inner alignment. So I'm going to invite you for a minute to just take a breath in and drop down into your root. And ask yourself, am I a quick fixer? Without any judgment. You're just gathering information. There is no judgment. Everything is only a developmental stage that has served us from one phase of our life or consciousness to a next. Have I been operating through quick fixing rather than learning how to do this inner recalibration into my divinity? Do I believe that I am a divine human? Because if you don't believe that, then it's not going to make any sense. Right? So, do I believe that who I am is limited only to how I understand humanity through past levels of consciousness? Or do I believe, am I willing to believe that I am so much more, that I hold within me divine qualities, divine frequencies, a highest self that allows me to step into my angelic being, perhaps, that allows me to step into my galactic being, perhaps, that allows me to step into a blueprint of my magician aspect, my priestess aspect? Or do I think I'm here simply to go through the day to day to day and allow life to be as I've always known it? Take a deep breath in, exhale. So what do you notice or sense? Is there excitement? Is there enthusiasm? Is there the willingness to go, whoa, I want to live in love. I want to live in freedom? Or is there kind of disbelief, or I don't know how that's possible? My life feels hard. Or I'm content, right, just to kind of keep doing the small steps. And that's fine. You get to listen. You get to choose. So if you are feeling like, whoa, I think I want to step into something bigger. I think I want to step into a bigger version of me. I think I really want to know what it's like to hold more love in my being, to live my life through more joy, to see the world through wonder, to connect to the magic and the synchronicities of the cosmos, right? To be willing to sort of, as the Fool says in the tarot, to take that leap off the cliff into the unknown and open up into a whole new vista, even if I don't know what it is. That's what we're doing here. That's where we're going. That is this next amazing, beautiful way. Beautiful because that beauty is inside of us. We call it forth. And then we learn from it. And we transmute and purify the parts of us that may not feel that beautiful, that may not feel that gentle or that kind or that giving or that compassionate. That's okay. That's part of the journey. It's part of the development. So this is going to require that we move into understanding the subtleties of frequency. Everything is frequency. If you feel happy, that's a frequency, and that is a vibration, and it's a consciousness. And so, as you might be noticing, when I work with embodied moments, we're leaving the emotional landscape of feelings and emotions. That's our human self, and that's part of the evolution. How can I live more in happiness, right? How can I trust that life can be happy more? How can I access that emotion? That's part of this. And then there's more. Happiness at its next octave, at its higher divine expression, is joy. And it's a different experience. It's a different consciousness. It is a higher, more developed, more evolved expression that our humanity has a potential to activate, cultivate, and live in that reality. No lie. Truth. Based on embodied experience. Now, is it constant? Is it 100%? Not always. But the drops down are not as deep. And we begin to know a higher expression of ourselves so we don't attach to the drop as much. So we are working with up-leveling from denser emotions of anger, sadness, depression, grief, loss, into happiness, contentment, fun, right? Self-love, self-acceptance. These are foundational. And then into higher states of being. But you have to choose it. And you have to be, you have to be open to understand how to access those if you don't know how. So frequency is also going to be, and already is, how we co-create our reality. Only as we move forward, there's going to be a little less choice in this. So when I say there's going to be a little less choice, when we start moving into the age of Aquarius, when we start moving into 2025, our frequency within will be creating even faster than what it already has. So if I'm experiencing inside of me a lot of unresolved, let's say anger or unhealed wounding where I still feel victimized, I still feel that I'm a victim, I'm still operating from self-loathing, from self-rejection, the universal reflection is going to become faster. So the universe will meet you where you're at faster than what it does now. But if I'm recognizing and if I'm cultivating and, if a higher percentage of the time I'm operating from abundance, from freedom, from joy, right? From love of myself, then I'm going to be met with more of that from outside. That will be what I'm creating. We're always creating, and we're creating more and more, not as much on what we do, but the true essence of who we are. What is our soul signature? What is your true essence? This is becoming paramount. And there's an evolution process in meeting different expressions of your soul essence as you evolve. All right? So I'm going to talk about that more in a different video. So I'm just looking at my notes here. If you're choosing to start living in your true essence or evolving, opening, right, cultivating, growing towards, it requires commitment and devotion to your divinity. Meaning, it becomes the motivation for all aspects of your life, starting from within, by cultivating and creating the frequency. If you are devoted to your true essence, this is your God self, then what you're doing is you are devoting yourself as well to whatever relationship you have with the divine, and beginning to open to that energy, that assistance, that guidance, that support, that wisdom, that grace. And that's going to mean purifying and transmuting the devotion to this plane of existence, your devotion to your fear, your devotion to your sadness, your devotion to control, your devotion to your stories, right? When we're choosing the quick fix, we're living in devotion to a ceiling. We can't get past a ceiling. And I'm saying, I'm devoted to staying beneath the ceiling. I'm devoted to staying in my small self, in my limited potential. When we're devoted to our true essence, we're saying, I am devoted to that part of me, that light inside of me. I am devoted to cultivating it, right? If it's a fire, we're going to build that fire. We're going to build that light. When I did the activation for enthusiasm, right? That enthusiasm is like that expansion of light that we cultivate and we grow. The light of who we are, of our true essence. So you get to choose what path and your level of service. As we come into more self-love, and as we know that we are love, it's easier to come into our true levels of service. It's easier to follow the divine alignment of our soul presence, which is our true essence, right? God's presence within us is our soul in a different expression that is guiding us, that's aligning us, that's teaching us, that's saying from inside our own being, from our body, from our heart, from I feel expansive to I feel contracted and tight. That's usually not the guidance of yes. That's the ego, fear guidance of tension, contraction, constriction, fear, confusion, distortion, because I can't hear what's inside because I'm not making the choices to listen inside. Okay? So we have a lot of, I'm feeling really lit up, right? So enthusiasm is starting to build in a new way. And for me personally, I can tell you, the last couple months have been a deep dive of transmuting and purging the level that I've been at so that I can meet this level now. So for those of you who are on on your journey, brand new, don't be discouraged when you feel like you're doing everything right. And then there's some crazy, glitch that feels like that plummets you. It's part of the purging, purification, and transmutation process. So as many of you know, I have been doing this journey since 1996. My gosh. And there have been numerous plummets, what feels like plummets into density. But when we recognize that when we get to a certain level in our frequency, we understand We're coming down into the density to shift it, to heal it, to throw it out. And that our true light is there guiding the situation, and it's going to come back burning brighter than ever. Okay, so this is where a lot of us are coming through after this eclipse season, after Lionsgate. It's been an intense few months. So, I'm going to trust that many of you are feeling it, and I'm just going to invite you to start saying yes. Just start feeling the yes. Listen inside, because your soul expression, it inherently has a yes in it. Okay? More to come on this and more. And probably in the next week or two, I'm gonna do a live call for people. It won't be on YouTube. It will be on Zoom. If you are interested in that, I'll put a link below. You can shoot me your email so that I can let you know when we're going to do it. And I'll bring it up here again. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, and if this speaks to you, please hang out with me, right? Hang out with this growing community. Hang out with the growing self of that part of you. And if you haven't done any of the embodied moments and you're interested in actually co-creating and consciously raising your frequency, then the link will be down below there as well. Highly recommend them. They're beautiful to work with. There's like 3 or 4 on there right now. The next one will be coming up on Sunday. But you can work with them in whatever order you want and allow those levels of consciousness, those frequencies, to be your guide and teacher from within by awakening new parts of you. New parts. They're not really new. They're you. They are your true essence. You're just inviting them to shine forth. All right. Many blessings. Much love. Talk to you soon.